Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are opening up the source material on one of the most pressing strategic challenges right now. Leading when technology, specifically artificial intelligence, isn't just a tool anymore. It's like a core teammate.
Yeah.
The integration of AI into organizations, through these human AI teams or HATs. It's fundamentally redefining what good leadership even looks like.
It's a huge shift. And our sources, they really highlight that the success of these massive changes. Well, it isn't just about speed or, technical adoption.
Right.
It's moving beyond just being technically competent. It's prioritizing the really human stuff: authenticity, rigorous ethical governance, strategic vision.
Okay.
So our mission today really is to unpack three things for you. First, the surprising ways HATs often fail operationally. Second, the absolute mandate for ethical oversight. And third, the very human motivations of the product owners, the leaders actually driving this change on the ground.
I think the key thing right up front is getting that AI teammates aren't just like an efficiency upgrade. This isn't just a faster calculator.
Exactly.
It changes leadership because it creates this whole new set of problems around trust, coordination. How do we work with something that thinks differently? Okay, let's jump right into the research then, because there's this really fascinating paradox with AI teaming. Logically, you'd think human AI teams would immediately do better than human-only teams, wouldn't you? Best of both worlds.
You think so?
Yet, our sources show HATs often actually underperform compared to human-only teams, or even AI working alone. Why? Why are we seeing this performance gap?
Yeah, it really comes down to friction. When you just drop AI systems into existing teams without enough prep, the core team dynamics kind of seize up. The root causes are pretty consistent. Communication breaks down, coordination fails, trust is lower, and just overall team cognition gets worse. Basically, all the things that make human teams click, shared understanding, quick chats, they get gummed up when the AI joins.
That makes me think about trust immediately. Like with a human colleague, trust builds slowly.
Yeah.
Right? Based on reliability, shared work. How does that change when your teammate is an algorithm?
It often flips. With human teams, trust usually goes up over time. With AI, trust tends to decline.
Decline. Why?
It's because people often start with this inflated idea of what the AI can do. Like, we expect it to be perfect, totally predictable. But AI operates probabilistically. It makes errors sometimes, maybe only 1% of the time. But when it does, that initial high trust just crashes. And often it doesn't really recover. It's fundamentally a problem of managing expectations, but with huge organizational impact.
So it's not just the AI's performance, it's our reaction to its inevitable mistakes that tanks the trust.
Precisely. And that leads right into the cognition barrier. Humans struggle because, we often lack a clear mental model of how these complex AI systems actually work, especially the black box ones.
Right.
You can't coordinate well with a teammate if you have no idea how they make decisions. It's opaque.
And what about the AI side of that? Does it understand us?
Well, that's where this idea of machine theory of mind comes in. And it's a big source of failure.
Machine theory of mind.
Yeah. In human teams, theory of mind is our knack for figuring out what teammates are thinking, predicting what they'll do, anticipating their needs. AIs often lack that.
Okay.
They can't effectively model our goals or limitations or even how we prefer to communicate. So their actions can feel, misaligned or just disruptive to the human part of the team. You basically have teammates running on totally different predictive models.
Wow, that lack of a shared model sounds crippling. Now let's connect that paradox teams actually slowing down with this leadership readiness gap we're seeing. There's this massive disconnect, isn't there, between what executives think is happening with AI adoption and what's real on the ground.
Oh, the stats are pretty stark. C-suite leaders, they estimate about 4% of employees are using generative AI for, say, at least 30% of their daily work. Seems specific.
Okay.
But when you ask the employees themselves, the actual self-reported usage is only about a third of that. The C-suite number is 3 times higher than reality.
Wait, 3 times? Why such a huge gap? Is it wishful thinking or?
It's often aspirational reporting, The C-suite sets these bold goals, which is good, but then they might report success based on that aspiration, not measured reality. They assume we deployed the tool, so people must be using it heavily.
Right.
And that creates this intense pressure further down the chain.
Which leads to what the sources call the director squeeze.
Absolutely. Directors, middle managers, they're caught right in the middle. They report ongoing change as their #1 challenge at a rate nearly 4 times higher than senior executives mention it.
4 times?
Yeah, they're the ones stuck trying to bridge that gap. They have to take the C-suite's sometimes unrealistic vision and somehow make it work for teams who might be struggling, maybe lacking skills, or dealing with that very performance paradox we just talked about. They're basically the shock absorbers for the whole change effort.
Okay, so if AI makes teamwork harder initially and stresses out middle management, the leader's role has got to change dramatically, right? They can't just be task managers anymore. They have to become like ethical governors.
That's exactly it. They need to be the moral compass.
So what are the big ethical challenges leaders absolutely have to get a handle on for this transformation to actually work long term? Our sources mentioned 4 critical ones.
Yeah, these 4 really define modern AI leadership, I think. First, bias and fairness. This is a huge one. The risk is that AI learns from historical data. If that data reflects past biases, like in hiring or loan applications, the AI doesn't just copy them. It can actually amplify unethical practices and do it super fast and at scale. So leaders have to demand diverse training data and set up ongoing bias checks. It's non-negotiable.
Okay, number 2.
Transparency and accountability. This is the black box problem again. If a complex AI makes a bad decision and its process is opaque, how do you figure out why? Who's accountable?
Right.
Leaders need to mandate clear documentation of how these algorithms work and set up clear lines of accountability for when things go wrong.
Makes sense. Third.
Job displacement and reskilling. Look, AI can automate tasks. That raises real ethical questions about people's jobs. Ethical leadership means facing that directly. It requires proactive, serious investment in reskilling and upskilling people.
So it's not about replacing people, but shifting their roles.
Exactly. Helping them transition to new, probably higher value roles that work with the AI tools.
And the last one.
Privacy concerns. AI systems need a lot of data to work well. They're data hungry. This means ethical leaders must prioritize really robust data governance, not just checking the box on compliance like GDPR, but truly protecting people's data.
That whole framework really shifts the leader's job from just managing to, like, stewardship. But it begs the question, is doing all this ethical stuff just the right thing to do, morally speaking, or is there actually a business case? Is being good profitable here?
Oh, it is absolutely profitable, and we can actually quantify it through what's called responsible AI or RAI. Companies that really invest in strong RAI programs, meaning they build ethics and transparency from the start. Our sources show their revenues and even their valuations can be up to 4% higher than competitors who just do the bare minimum compliance.
4%. That's significant for something often seen as just a cost. What about when things go wrong? Resilience.
That's maybe the clearest benefit. If, or maybe when, something bad happens, an algorithm messes up, a data breach occurs, employee trust and customer trust too, it recovers twice as fast in companies that practice RAI.
Right.
They've basically built up trust equity through being open and consistent beforehand.
So the takeaway isn't just ethics is nice. It's that things like authenticity, transparency, they're actually building resilience into the business.
They're the strategic backbone, really.
Yeah.
Authentic leadership, being honest, consistent, communicating clearly provides stability when everything feels like it's changing constantly. It confirms the key point. Leaders have to lead by being human. That means empathy, judgment, ethical foresight, things AI just can't replicate.
All right, this is where, for me, it gets really interesting. We talked big picture. Organizational issues, ethics. Now let's zoom in on the people actually driving this change day to day, the product owner, the PO. This role is so critical in AI development. What do these POs personally want? Beyond hitting your targets, what's actually motivating them to navigate all this pressure and chaos?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Our sources pull together 5 really consistent personal desires that keep popping up for POs in the AI space, and they tell you a lot about the mix of uncertainty and ambition in this career path.
Okay, what are they?
First, recognition and credibility. POs really want to be seen as strategic thinkers, as trusted advisors. They're often tired of feeling like they're just backlog managers or order takers, They want to be recognized as the driving force behind significant AI wins.
Makes sense. Number 2.
Mastery and skill growth. The speed of AI change is, it's kind of terrifying for people in the field. So they have this deep desire to constantly learn more, to build what some call AI intuition, and basically future-proof their own careers. They need to stay relevant.
Constant learning just to keep up. Got it. Third.
Career advancement and influence. They definitely see successfully launching AI products as a major career boost. It's a path to more specialized, maybe executive-level AI product manager roles that come with a lot more influence and, frankly, better compensation.
Okay, ambition. Four.
Autonomy and creative freedom. They really want the space to shape strategy, to make decisions that matter. They don't want to feel like they're just executing tactics handed down from above. They want a creative input.
And the last one, number 5.
This one's kind of ironic. Work-life balance and reduced overload.
Wait, ironic how?
Well, they have this hope, this desire, that by building these intelligent systems to automate boring, repetitive work, they can eventually reduce their own crazy workload, free up time for that strategic thinking, or maybe just, have a personal life.
Huh. That is ironic. They're working themselves ragged now, hoping the AI will save them time later.
It really shows the complex motivation, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's this
right.
blend of fear of becoming obsolete, and ambition, wanting more influence, all kind of wrapped up in this hope for a more manageable future. What it reveals is that the real driver for leading AI change isn't just about shipping features. It's about deep human needs, security, personal growth, maximizing influence in a world that feels really uncertain and high stakes right now.
They want to be the ones shaping the future, not just reacting to it, which takes a lot of guts, given that readiness gap they're staring down.
So given all this complexity, the teams struggling, the gap between leaders and reality, the POs with their own big ambitions, the human leader's job fundamentally shifts. It has to. It moves towards higher value stuff, setting the strategic vision, focusing on the user, governing ethically,
Right.
and the skills you need now. It's this blend of being pretty fluent technically, but also having really strong emotional intelligence, or EQ.
So let's try and synthesize that into something actionable. Our sources seem to point towards a kind of 3-step strategy.
Yeah.
It focuses on clarity, trust, and imagination. Maybe we can call it the leader's algorithm.
I like that, the leader's algorithm.
Okay. Step 1 seems to be about cutting through the noise. Too many leaders, the sources warn, just ground teams and feature lists and, AI buzzwords. The biggest trap seems to be this AI for AI's sake thing, launching projects just because AI sounds cool, not because they solve a real problem.
Exactly. The leader's job here is to be the constant reality check. Stop getting mesmerized by the tech complexity and focus relentlessly on the human solution. You need to translate those complex technical goals into something super simple and clear. The sources suggest using a one-sentence outcome statement, something that spells out the measurable business value, the ROI.
Can you give us an example? What does that actually sound like?
Sure. Instead of saying, we're deploying a new LLM for internal documentation enhancement, which is jargon,
Right.
you say, we are solving for the frustrating task of X specific manual data entry because we estimate it's costing us Y hours or dollars in errors and wasted time right now. C, clear problem, clear value.
Much clearer. It gives people a why. So
Yeah.
the takeaway is stop leading with the what, the algorithm, and start leading with the why, the measurable human impact.
Precisely. Okay, step B tackles that trust paradox we talked about earlier. AI results are inherently probabilistic. They're not certainties.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, leaders simply cannot have all the answers. And pretending certainty about AI performance or timelines, that's a surefire way to destroy trust later on.
So the leadership move is kind of counterintuitive. You have to admit, you don't know everything.
Yeah.
And invite the team into that uncertainty.
Exactly. Leaders need to directly tackle the unspoken fear people have about their jobs. Reframe AI clearly. It's about augmentation, not replacement. Explain how the AI will make their expertise more valuable, maybe by handling the tedious stuff, and critically normalize failure. Treat setbacks not as disasters, but as essential data for the next iteration. And then, yes, invite the team to co-own the outcomes, to help teach and improve the system.
Co-own the outcomes. I like that. All right, the final step, step C. This seems to shift the focus from just managing tasks today to actually painting a picture of the future.
Yeah.
How do you lead when the path forward isn't totally clear?
You lead with vision. You lead with storytelling. This is where imagination becomes a core leadership tool. Yeah. Leaders need to use narrative to describe the positive future this AI helps create. Show people specifically how their roles evolve with AI, not just vanish. This connects right back to those PO desires for influence and security, but you apply it broadly.
And I guess this loops back to the ethics piece, too, making ethics part of that imaginative future.
Absolutely. Imagination is crucial for tackling those ethical challenges proactively. Leaders need to commit to building ethical development practices like transparency tools, bias checks right into the product itself. Make it a core feature, not just some compliance thing you bolt on at the end. Move it from the legal department into the innovation lab. Hashtag tag outro.
So, wrapping this all up, what's the bottom line? The age of AI seems to demand this new algorithm for leadership. One built not on, like, control or pretending you know everything, but on really human qualities, defining a clear purpose, being okay with uncertainty, and inspiring people towards a shared ethical future.
And interestingly, we saw sources suggesting AI itself might even help here. Things like personalized AI coaching could help leaders build those crucial human skills, actually the EQ, the adaptability potentially at scale.
Huh. Using AI to become more human leaders.
Kind of meta, right? But the ultimate shift is definitely from just managing AI tasks to truly mastering human strategy.
It really is about strategic leadership in very uncertain times.
Yeah.
Okay, let's leave you with a final provocative thought to chew on. We talked about how ambition and bold goals are needed to drive real transformative change. But we also saw that director squeeze, where leaders get caught between that big ambition and the messy reality on the ground.
Right.
Here's a question for you. Is your organization really focused on the deep, fundamental transformative shift needed to capture long-term AI value? Or is it maybe stuck pursuing more localized, incremental gains that won't ultimately address the real scale of this leadership challenge? Which side of that readiness gap are you and your organization actively working to close right now?